Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. I used to feel jealous looking at other women and their career success. I wanted to talk about jealousy today because I feel like it's a feeling that we often hide or feel shame around. I know so many people that I've had this conversation with, whether it's my clients, my friends, whether it's, seeing it on social media. There's a lot of jealousy that goes on social media. And here's the thing, and here's what I want to reframe today, because the goal of today is going to be to reframe what jealousy means from a spiritual and tactical perspective. We are taught as people, especially as women, we are taught to not want what others have. We are taught to be grateful for everything in our life. And while that's totally okay, and gratitude is a big part of what I teach and my clients and my coaching practice and what I also practice as well, being grateful for what you have doesn't mean that you can't want more. Those things can coexist together. And I think that's where the issue comes from. And, there's this scarcity mindset of not everyone can have what everyone else has. And if she has it, then that means I can't have it. Or this jealous feeling of like, oh, why does she have something? That should be me, right? So I want to talk about jealousy from the perspective of jealousy is not a flaw. Jealousy is simply information that your brain is processing so that we can then say, okay, what's happening here? And I would even venture to say that jealousy is a good thing, especially if we can reframe it to abundance. So here's a little reframe that I want to start the episode out with is jealousy isn't toxic, okay? Jealousy is spiritual breadcrumbs, right? It's a trail. It's a breadcrumb trail that's leading you to something that you deeply want. Because here's the thing. Jealousy is desire mixed with perceived lack. So what does that mean, right? When we're jealous, we're seeing someone that has something that we want, but we also feel like we can't have it. That's why the jealousy is so framed as negative, because even though it's something we want, we think, oh, that's not possible for me, right? Because if we thought it was, it wouldn't be jealousy. It would be encouragement. It would be looking up to someone, right? But jealousy has that aspect of it is, I want it, but I also don't think that I can have it. And most of the time, it's not about the other person, right? It has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with what they're doing, what they're posting about. It's about something that's been activated in ourselves, activated in us, that is making us have these feelings. So here's what jealousy may be showing you, right? If we're looking at it from more of an abundant perspective, jealousy can show you what you're ready to call in. It can show you what you think is possible for others, but maybe not for you. Jealousy can also show you where it doesn't feel safe to want more. So a prompt that you can use, even a journal prompt or just something to think about when you're feeling jealous, is ask yourself, okay, instead of saying, why do they have that, right? That's where that negative, jealous, lack mindset comes from. You can ask, what part of me believes that I can't have this? Now we're reframing this sentence, this phrase, this word, jealousy. We're reframing it to say, okay, what feelings do I have from this? And why do I feel like I can't have that? And here's the thing is, a lot of times we have these jealous feelings, which aren't bad, right? But we don't name them. We don't name jealousy. And when we don't name jealousy and we don't talk to it and we don't understand where it's coming from, it leads to things like passive aggressive behavior, right? How many times has it happened where you're jealous of someone and then because of that, you're passive aggressive towards them? You're rude, you make sly comments. I mean, I know it's happened to me before and I know I've done it before as well. It happens to be a comparison spiral, right? So you get into this negativity, this low self-esteem. You start feeling defeated because you're comparing yourself to that person, which I don't think we should ever compare ourselves to each other, because at the end of the day, each of us is completely unique. Not one of us has the exact same background, experience, education, all the things. So comparison really doesn't work anyways, because we can't compare, apples to oranges. So we really get into this comparison spiral. And then something else that can happen, which is truly tragic, is the self-sabotage. So you look at this person and you say, oh, they have, the nice car, the nice house, or the successful business. I can't have that. So you actually self-sabotage. So you don't accomplish your goals because you feel it's not possible. So spiritual bypassing comes into this, and I want to talk about this in this context because I think it's very important because yes, like we can talk about spirituality and being grateful and all of these things. Spiritual bypassing is the phenomenon or the phrase. It's when someone uses spiritual ideas or practices to avoid dealing with difficult emotions, unresolved wounds, or uncomfortable realities, right? So when people say like love and light, or I'm just going to be grateful, or the universe has my back, like those can be very toxic phrases, and that's what's called spiritual bypassing. And I don't want to get us to a point where we're looking at this from like too much of a spiritual bypassing perspective of saying, okay, well, I'm, not going to be jealous of that person, like love and light, like it's all good. Like, no, it's not, right? Like we need to understand what's going on there from a psychological level. Why are you jealous of this person? You can still be spiritual and still understand that you being jealous is actually you missing something or feeling like you're not good enough. And then let's unpack that. Let's understand where it comes from, right? Because jealousy is often the first layer of other emotions like grief, fear, unclaimed ambition, right? Jealousy is the surface level. Just like anger is a surface level for sadness and other feelings, jealousy is also a surface level emotion for other deeper feelings. So the thing is we have to ask ourselves again, where is this coming from? Where is the jealousy I'm feeling coming from, right? And something I try to do, and I've been really, really good at lately, is whenever I look at someone and I'm like, ooh, I don't like what they're doing, or that's strange, or I wish I had what they had, or whatever, I always ask myself, what am I projecting? What am I projecting onto this person? Why am I having these negative feelings? Where is this coming from? What about this person is triggering me and why? I really try to understand, because at the end of the day, people are just a mirror to us. Things that you feel about another person is usually just a mirror, right? So if I'm looking at someone and I'm like, oh, that's, like a lot of times, this is a good example, and I'm just going to be vulnerable right now. I don't have kids yet. I do want them. I don't have kids right now. I've been very adamant about not having kids at a young age. I will be well into my mid or late 30s before I have kids. And I look at, people around me or friends that have multiple kids or younger, and sometimes a feeling creeps in like, ugh, I wouldn't want that life, or I don't know. And you know what? I think it is jealousy to some extent, because I think I'm projecting and saying to them, I don't think that I could have done that at a younger age, or I don't know if I could deal with 3 kids right now. And so I have to look at, what am I projecting onto those people? What am I projecting onto my friends? It's not I just don't want their life. It's actually much deeper than that. And it's probably coming from some sort of insecurity on my part that I'm not dealing with. So I really try to understand where that's coming from. So I want to give you some guide on how you can practice transmuting jealousy. I want to talk about some journaling, some affirmations, some nervous system work that we can do to kind of help you shift. So in terms of a journal, I love what am I projecting, but also when we look at jealousy specifically, asking yourself, what do they have that I want, right? That's the first part. What do they have that I want, and why? And why? Where is this coming from? And do I believe I'm capable of achieving that? Because if the answer is no, then that's where that needs to be unpacked. That's where you need to focus your attention, not on that person and what they have. Again, they're just a mirror toward you. They're just a mirror. And we need to understand where this feeling is coming from and why it's coming up. Another affirmation you could do, which I think is great. I love affirmations. And again, if you feel like you have a lack mindset, you feel like you can't accomplish things, you can say an affirmation, something along the lines of, if I can see it, I can create it. I love this. And what I always say to people, and what I say to my clients as well, is if you see a woman succeeding, if you see her with the nice car, the fancy job, the savings account, whatever, instead of saying to yourself like, ugh, I wish I had that, you could say to yourself, oh, she has it. She's paved the path for me. If she can do it, that means I can do it, in a positive, uplifting way, right? she did it, I can also do it. She's showing me that it's possible. Yeah, you have to put in the work and you have to do things to get there, but if it's possible for one person, it's possible for you as well. I also want to touch on nervous system regulation work. I can't have a podcast episode without talking about nervous system regulation work, because the thing is that jealousy can trigger a threat response. Okay, it can trigger a threat response. We can feel threatened. We can feel unsafe. So we have to understand, is my nervous system triggered right now? Is my nervous system feeling like it's in a threat response? So when you do feel jealous, I would even say the first thing you can do is regulate your nervous system, is look at yourself and say, okay, how can I calm my nervous system right now when I'm feeling jealous? Whether it's a meditation, EFT tapping, grounding, orienting, breath work, even for just 2 minutes. There's a lot of great nervous system tools that you can do and have in your back pocket that you can say in that moment, okay, I'm going to try to soothe this triggered and threatened response that I am feeling right now. This is probably the first thing and the most important thing that you can do. And then again, really shifting from comparison to celebration. And this goes back to what I just said is, can I admire this person? Instead of attacking them, instead of feeling that jealous, like, oh, they have this and then I'm going to be passive aggressive, whatever, can I celebrate them? So something that I love to do is when I'm scrolling on social media and I see a woman succeed, whether she posts about a brand collab or, doing a podcast, like whatever it is, I always like the post. I always like it, because with me liking it, I am saying I am celebrating this person. I am celebrating her. She's amazing. I'm so happy for her. Even if I have that pang of jealousy, which I still do, I'm not perfect, I will like the photo because I am saying to her, I'm saying to myself, I'm supporting you, I'm excited for you, and I'm proud of you. And that's a really powerful shift to have. And again, just having that reframe of jealousy is that really baseline feeling, and there's something deeper underneath, whether it's fear, feeling threatened, a scarcity mindset, and it's understanding where that's coming from, why it's there, and how can we make changes to understand where that's coming from, and then get to the other side of that and have that abundance mindset. And I just want to really emphasize that jealousy isn't bad. And it doesn't make you a bad person in any way. It just makes you honest. It's an honest feeling that you want something, right? A part of you envies what that person has, but it also means that a part of you is dreaming about having that, right? So I would say if you're feeling jealous of someone or something, a part of you wants that thing. A part of you feels like something along those lines is meant for you. And I would use that as a positive. Use it on your vision board. If you create a vision board, use that person's announcement or their picture on your vision board to say, they did it. I'm also going to call that in. So I think that that's, again, a really powerful shift as well. And again, just meeting jealousy with compassion, with curiosity instead of shame, because jealousy is coming from a place of positive and abundance. And how can we make sure it stays that way versus spiraling into the negative? So that's my take on jealousy. I hope this was a helpful reframe. Let me know how you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, I would really appreciate a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I hope y'all have an amazing week, and I'll catch you in the next episode.